right, hello everybody, and welcome to our quick weekly 30-minute webinar. My name is Dan Schmidt, systems engineer here at Variphy, and today I'll be your host. Today we're joined with Matt Sykes, aka Matty Ice, and in today's webinar we're going to be covering and showing you all the new features that you can expect to see in our soon-to-come version 12.1.5. Just a quick agenda for today's webinar. We're going to start off with a quick overview of our company and what we do. We'll then jump into a live demo with Matt and guide you through the items that will appear in our next release. We'll then pause for some Q&A and get some of your questions answered. During the demo, if you have any questions at all, please find the Q&A panel in the lower right-hand corner of the webinar WebEx screen and pose your questions there, and we'll get those answered for you. After Q&A, we'll reward one lucky winner with a $50 Amazon gift card. So hang around to see if you've won. So a quick overview of Variphy. Variphy is the preferred analytics and management solution for Cisco collaboration. We provide industry-leading CDR reporting and call analytics, customizable dashboards and widgets, UCCX reporting, remote phone control, change management. But in today's webinar, we're going to be primarily focusing on dashboard improvements with a mention of a few other select modules within the Variphy stack. If you have any other questions on any of the other features not touched on today, please feel free to take those offline and address those with us. Before we go ahead and get started, we do want to announce that Variphy now offers a new service that provides managed consulting services to our customers. Variphy's system engineering team will be engaged on a one-on-one basis to remotely provide additional consulting, unassisted reporting, dashboarding, configuration, and system monitoring assistance. This is a service that provides a dedicated Variphy SE to do the heavy lifting of report creation and generation. So for more information, or if you have any interest, please contact us and we'd be glad to speak with you more in depth on that new offering. So just a quick overview. I want to provide a brief summary on the new features going to be seen in version 12.1.5. Everything mentioned here, Matt will definitely be taking more in depth and showing you the ins and outs of these features. As you can see, most of these new features are dashboard centric. And so we have here a summary. So the first really big feature here is a new message of the day widget within our dashboard. Second new widget is for the customers already using our top end widgets. Those will now be converted to a grouping statistic widget. We've added the ability to configure vertical spacing in any of our table widgets. With that, we've also improved some other view components of the dashboard. We've added a new CDR time-based widget month of year option. So when doing any sort of call scenario analytics, we've added a month of year option. We've added now in the DN and DID management components, we've added the ability to map numbers to translation patterns called party transform mask, and Matt will show us a little bit more on what that means. And then last but not least, we've also added support for a remote phone control tool on the Cisco 8821 wireless devices. So without further ado, I'll hand the ball over to Matt.
All right. Thank you, Dan. Have it up here in a moment. Come on, WebEx. Very well. I'm now the presenter. Let's go ahead and share my screen. Sharing screen 2. Okay. Hello, all. Welcome. This is Matt Sykes with Variphy. Welcome for joining us on our weekly webinar here today. As Dan just prefaced for me, we will be covering the new What's New in 12.1.5 that I have loaded in my lab environment here. One of the biggest, obviously, announcements is the announcement or widget of the day, or I'm sorry, a message of the day announcement widget. So as we see here, we can see a static message that we have built into the announcement widget. So real briefly, let's just go ahead and edit that. Now we have a lot of capabilities here with this newer widget. So obviously we can play with the color theme as we want and an icon, but we can also take the message posted from the application settings, which would be more of a global, I guess, announcement message, or we have the availability to utilize a per widget basis or per widget per dashboard basis for the announcement widget. So very easily we can specify our own message that we want in there, or we can utilize the message source that was built for the application level. We can make it static, as you saw on my screen dim in the background there, or we can scroll it. So let's go ahead and scroll it. We have scrolling speeds as well. So now I will utilize my default message here. We'll slow it down. And we can see it's just tickering across nice and slowly. This can be resized, reshaped, and it will still be slowly scrolling the message for you. We can certainly speed this up, as well as we can also increase the font size as well to punch that up. So let me just test out the speeds here for us. That was slow. This is medium. And if we wanted that message to be bigger, we can most certainly play with the appearance. So we can be global. We can modify the appearance of all of the widgets from the global dashboard appearance button, or we can be specific for the widget. And this one I will be. Click on the widget icon there within the appearance. Drag this over a little bit to increase the font size a little. And there we go. We can even make it larger if we like. And it would need a little more real estate here for it, but there we go. And we can very easily speed this up now if we wanted to. And that should get cooking across the screen pretty quickly. I will mention though that the length of the message will kind of dictate the speed of the scrolling. Even though the longer messages take a little more to obviously shoot across the page horizontally on the scroll, the speed may look a little slower than shorter message widgets, but that's actually just kind of an appearance kind of shroud, if you will. What we can do then as well, let me just show real briefly before I get away from that. So this is the global announcement widget, which we can program from an administrative level underneath the application settings, located right in here. And here we are. Here's the announcement message. So this is the message source for the application as a global system-wide announcement message that can be utilized from the widget or all announcement widgets on all dashboards if they're utilizing the this message source. But just hopping back to my dashboard, if I didn't want to use the standard global message for this dashboard widget, maybe I wanted something more specific. Maybe I want to punch up and maybe advertise for our upcoming block party June 1st and 2nd. So I can very easily put that in there. I can modify the appearance, the size, as well as the colors. So if I wanted to change color, by all means, most certainly I can change it to teal if I was so inclined. But definitely the announcement widget has been requested for some time now, and it is now in the product and will be delivered with the 12.5 release in a few days. Okay, so that covers the announcement of the day widget. If you have any questions on that, feel free to go ahead and send them to the Q&A panel within the WebEx. I will move now down to the vertical widget spacing that Dan had mentioned. So now within the dashboard in 12.15, now we have this newer appearance button. We have the availability to go ahead and change the vertical spacing on all of the widgets globally, or we can do this from a per widget basis. But I actually want to do it globally. So at the moment, we are in our standard form as far as the vertical spacing is concerned. I'll just scroll down a little briefly and show you. So looking at some of this space, it's eating up a little bit of real estate as far as the dashboard widgets are concerned. So we would like to free that up. We definitely know that's been a concern for some time. We don't need all of the, we don't need all the scrolling sliders. Very easily, I will just change the appearance to maybe a compact. We'll shorten up and eliminate some of the extra spacing that we did not need. But we also have a tiny appearance option as well, which I personally like myself because it gets a lot more data into the widget. And you don't need the scrolling metrics, the scrolling bars as much. So very easily, I had a lot of information in these widgets very easily with the tiny quote unquote appearance that we have now has modified these nice and concise for us. Now, I definitely know, I'm sure a lingering question in the background may be, well, what about the horizontal spacing? We are working on that. I do want to make mention of that. It is in development. It will be out in a couple of versions, but it's being worked on at the moment, so I just wanted to make that point. So we can see here, and we don't necessarily need to put the same specific vertical spacing on all of the widgets. Like I had mentioned, this up at the very top in the upper right is dashboard wide, but if I wanted to, I could definitely modify this at a different, at a different appearance level by widget. So each one of the widgets now has an appearance option here at the bottom, so I can be very specific. I don't maybe want the the tiny. Maybe I want just the compact. Maybe that's beneficial for me, or maybe I want the standard. Preference is definitely to the user at their disposal. Okay, that covers the top and that covers the vertical spacing. But I do want to make mention, though, that you can see, I mean, with the appearance, also with the vertical spacing, we can still flex the font size for all of the widgets globally, but that can also be done, as I mentioned, in each widget individually as well. So there's definitely a lot of options here at anyone's disposal. I definitely like the tiny option because it definitely punches it up and gets a lot more data in here. So I don't have so much wasted, I guess, widget space on the dashboard. Definitely, certainly, if these are being broadcast with the permalinks onto large television monitors, we definitely want to be conscious of space. So that is the new vertical widget spacing. Next will be our top End widget. So I have a couple of them down here. These are our top End widgets. Now, previously in the 12.1.4 or anything that I guess predated 12.1.5, the top End widgets look like this. They only have two columns, the primary grouping column and then a total calls or a count column. Now with 12.1.5, we have modified and broken out that top End widget to now be a quote unquote a grouping statistic widget. So now the same similar metrics that I had in that previous board that we were looking at in the older system, I'm now able to add in additional metrics as well. So if I wanted some totals or some additional averages, I can certainly do that, and I'm not just handcuffed to two columns within this widget. So very easy. I can just scroll down here, and I only have some of my top three, but most certainly I have the a nice listing of grouping statistic types that I can add in here at a moment's notice. And that is definitely going to be good, and some precursory work here for future potential hunt group widgets that we're going to be utilizing down the road. Okay, so that is the top End widget. Now we have broken that out. That has much more capabilities. I definitely know one of the questions that I had heard on my demos was, can we get duration into the top End widgets? And most certainly we're staring at it right here. It's staring us right in the face. So if we're looking for specific averages based off of duration, most certainly we can incorporate that in the quote unquote grouping statistic widgets now in 12.1.5. As well, I have some users, okay, group over here. Okay, and one other thing with regards to the dashboard I do want to show, and I kind of did cover, but I do want to kind of make mention of it here with a call volume based widget. Now we can see here before with the modifications of the appearance with the font and all that good stuff, the column header would potentially not change. So actually we now have that kind of fluctuating actually with the font scaling as well. Once we're punching that up, it will punch up the header identifiers as well. And then if we need to resize the widget, by all means, we most certainly can. Just wanted to make note of that the appearances, Dan had mentioned at the very beginning, that the appearance is now much more flexible for user experience. Okay, I will segue now into some other pieces, now the newer pieces that we've added on for analytics. So we did include time unit type of month of year. Let me toggle into my proper cluster. And so I'll just maybe just open this one sample report I have here real briefly, but just to show, we have now added into the search set statistics a new time unit, which is going to be month. So before, as we could break things down by hour of day, half hour of day, date, day of week, and week. Now we can also incorporate a breakdown by month. If we're looking to run maybe a full calendar report, we can break it down by the months. We can do that within the reports, as well as we can do that within the dashboard widgets as well. My apologies, I should have made mention of that on that volume widget. Just scroll to it briefly. This bar graph that I was entertaining a moment ago, if I was so inclined, I could most certainly utilize the a month time period notion within the within this call volume widget, but I will not, because my lab is a little incomplete with data. So I don't think specifying a month breakdown would be very beneficial for my lab data at the moment. But we definitely have the capability built into the analytics now and the dashboard widgets as well. Also within analytics, I did want to point out, this is not new for 12.1.5, but I do want to make mention of it. Within the data, underneath the analytics, within the data summary clipboard, Obviously, before we were always able to see, the available CDR within the environment if it's using a CUCM sync and the data visibility. But now we've also added in, the end user association, which is, denoted within the cluster configurations, but an easier way to get to it, to at least view it, because obviously we have multiple ways that we can accommodate the end user association, controlled device names being the primary, but we have some other options. But this is only viewable at an administrator level. This is an FYI, but that's nice to have that up in there now. And the other piece I did want to mention that that was mentioned in our previous 12.1.4 what's new, but I do just want to kind of make more mention to it. So within the analytics report section, I have a couple sample reports here, but this one hunt group report that I have, I do just want to hover over this little kind of report information icon on the back end here. So little lowercase I in the circle. I can click on that guy and then actually see the report and see what is it being utilized for. Is it being used? Is it scheduled? Is it part of a dashboard widget? And most certainly, actually, this one is. I actually have this report built and set on a monthly schedule. We can very easily see this. See also it's being utilized for a grouping statistic widget on my dashboard name of sample. And it's not being shared out with any other user groups at the moment in this lab environment, but just wanted to make mention of that for any administrators who may be kind of combing through their Variphy system, maybe looking to clean some things up, and just want to see, are there any of these reports that are, a whole list of reports, are they even being utilized within the report, or are they just taking up space? So definitely do want to make note of that. So that covers the analytics updates that I wanted to make mention of. And now I will segue on over into the DN management. And this is where the called party transform mask comes into effect. So I just want to make mention here in one of my lab call managers, and of course it's logged me out. With me for one moment. I created a route partition. I'm sorry, a route pattern. Let me pull it up for this. Here we are. So this 1003 in my lab, you see I'm here, this route pattern configuration, route pattern 1003, we have it configured to a called party transfer mask of 1000. So now within Variphy, the DN management, we're going to be able to identify that. So very easily, I'll just even put in 1000 and search for that. And it picks up both of them. It sees that 1000 is definitely unassigned inactive within my UC lab environment. However, it sees it as a called party transform mask off of the DN of 1003, and it is a SIP trunk route. Okay, which makes a lot of sense. So this actually has been requested for us. So we have now embedded this into the DN management in the 12.1.5 release. So this will be available for more in-depth DN management searches and queries. And I suppose the last on my agenda here is for, as Dan had mentioned on the bottom of his overview, is the support now that we have for remote phone control for the Cisco 8821 wireless device model. So we definitely have access to that. I don't have one in my lab at the moment to showcase, but I do just want to make mention that the Cisco 8821 wireless device is now compatible within Variphy for remote phone control, macros, and broadcast on Variphy 12.1.5. So that is all of the content I have for today's What's New in 12.1.5. So definitely feel free to ask any questions in the Q&A panel as we will answer them here in a few moments. Thank you all.
Awesome job, Matt. Thanks, as always. Super stoked to see some of these new features coming to light in our next release, 12.1.5. I can only imagine that some of our users are happy to see these as well, as most of these were recommended by them. Yeah, Matt, if you could pass me the ball here real quick.
Oh, certainly. If I can find the WebEx.
So at this time, guys, we'll open it up for some Q&A. I just want to point out some of the questions that we've received here. All right, so some Q&As. We've had a few come through. Thomas asks, does the announcement widget get shown on all of our dashboards? So Thomas, yes and no. So it would only get displayed on all the dashboards if those dashboards were enabled on the individual dashboards and set to the global announcement. So that individual widget set as a global announcement will pull whatever message you as an admin types in there. But if they don't have an announcement of the day widget on their dashboard, they're not going to see it, right? So they have to have that widget up on their dashboard to see that. But yes. Beth asks two-part question. How hard is the upgrade to this new release, and when is it going to be available? So Beth, not hard at all. Very, very easy. We actually take pride that our upgrades takes under 5 minutes. So that's start to finish with no data loss. So it's that, and our 12.15, we're aiming to have that out on May 26th. So just about a week after Memorial Day. Okay. Any other questions from any of the other attendees? All right. If at any time anyone does come up with any questions, feel free to reach out to us, either directly, Dan or Matt at verify.com or support at verify.com. We could certainly take those offline if you come up with any questions at a later time. So if there are no other questions, we'll move forward with announcing this week's winner. This week's winner is Janet Suzik. Sorry if I mispronounce your name, Janet, but Janet Suzik. Thank you for joining today's webinar. We'll get in touch with you to see how you could claim your $50 Amazon gift card. And for everyone else on the line, thank you for coming out today and viewing our 30-minute webinar. A little bit short today, but as just a general reminder, if you haven't already got the notifications, we are hosting one hell of a 2020 block party, June 1st and June 2nd, a couple hours each day, just kind of covering deep dive technical sessions, throwing a few fun things into the mix. And what I'm sure everyone is most interested in is over $10,000 worth in prizes. We'll be announcing some more specific agenda items and specifics on prizes here in just a few days over social media and email blasts. So if you haven't signed up for that, please feel free, verify.com/party. We'd love to have you there. In absence of Cisco Live, this is why we're doing this. And for trialing any of our other features, feel free to browse to verify.com/trial or to sign up for future webinars, verify.com/company/webinars. We'll be hosting a slew of webinars coming up weekly, same time every week, 11 a.m. Pacific. So once again, thank you everyone for joining today. Go out, be safe, and please be nice to one another. Thanks. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Thank you all. Bye.